Yes, sir. I
Yeah.
tried to download the Windows Server 2016 ISO,
Mm-hmm.
but something came up. I sent the screenshot to the general platform.
Mm-hmm.
So I've not been able. So I was trying to go and create a new machine on
On the
the
VM
Oracle
box.
VirtualBox. Yes, sir.
Mm.
When I got to the stage where I had
What
to
is it?
locate.
Something that came up? Can you share that? Let's see if we can read out.
Okay, okay, hold on, sir. A bit, sir. Okay, so it wrote drive SSS some SSS underscore S643 something something.
Mm-hmm.
So came on. So while I was trying to
No,
allocate,
I can't make sense of that. You need to settle down and tell me what the error is. That's the way I can help.
not
So
really
what?
an error, but I feel it didn't come up like yours. Like
Yeah,
when I
but
want to
what did
allocate,
you see instead of coming up?
I saw DVD drive E, then triple X underscore X 643 like that. So that was what I saw.
So with that error message, it wasn't able to proceed to load the software for you.
So it was when I wanted to allocate space for the hard drive or on the Oracle VirtualBox. I'd already allocated 2044 MB for the what do you call it? Is it the memory now? So when I got to the other stage for the hardware, there was no space again. I could not allocate any. That was where I got stuck.
There was no. Okay, you allocated. Learn to use the right words now. You allocated
I
2 gig. Hold on.
okay,
You
2 gig.
allocated 2 gig RAM. That's what you should have said.
All right,
And
sir.
then when you were about
Allocated
to allocate hard disk space, there was no space in your hard disk to allocate.
Yes, yes, sir.
How do you know there was no space at all in your hard disk to allocate?
First was blank, nothing was highlighted, just there was nothing, no, there was no reading there. I didn't see anything. Everything was just blank. I could not highlight anything. I could not select
Okay.
any number, any space for it. So that is where I got stuck.
So what's the regular hard disk capacity of your host?
Oh.
You know, you can quickly go to, okay, let me share now, to find out if you do have space on your host to share with your virtual. So let me share my screen so I can show you how to find out. Where am I now? Share screen, okay. So you can see me now. I take my file explorer and then I go to this PC. You see that?
Okay, yes, sir.
So I see my C drive.
Okay.
On my C drive, I see I have a total of 476 gigabytes.
Okay, sir.
And then I have 125 gigabytes free. So how much space do you have free on your own hard disk? Find out.
All right. Let me check one second.
That's part of, we started training. It's not like rush without solving problems. So everyone follow us. We started the training now. We are resolving issue. So she's trying to create a virtual machine, and we need to know, do you even have enough resources on your, not just resources.
Okay, I have on my Windows PC drive, I've seen it. I have 1.74 terabyte free.
Okay, so you do have hard disk space for your virtual machine. So hard disk space is not the problem. And you don't know what the problem is. Okay, so what you could do is this. Let me show you something else. So that's not the problem because there's no one straightforward solution. You always find out where's the problem. So since that's not the problem, let me load my VirtualBox. So this is my VirtualBox.
Okay,
This is my VirtualBox. Are you seeing my cursor moving, my pointer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so what you could do is go So what we created, what did we create yesterday? We created this yesterday.
Yes, virtual server 2016.
Okay. So let me, which one will I? Okay, let me quickly create one and remove it. Because I'm using this other one for that one. So quickly, new UJ, what are the names? Okay. Let me move this. So you can see my screen, right? So in your case, you don't see anything here, right? Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, sir.
So in your own case, you couldn't see this so that you can adjust the size of the.
Yes, sir.
That was
No,
the
I
problem. Why would you not see this? Okay. We don't know. I don't know why, but let me just create something. 1.9 gig. Let me create something for that size. Create. Okay, so what you could do now is come. But did you eventually create the virtual machine? Did it come up here?
No, at all. No, not.
I have to take a closer look at your peculiar situation. But what I wanted to show everyone was this: that when you are removing files, this actually causes a lot of problems. When you are removing a virtual machine, don't just make sure not to remove only. Delete all files. Yes. Because if you remove just this machine and the files are in the background, it will cause problems later. So please note this so that you don't run into problems and start to call me later. Always click delete all files. All right. All right, so we'll have to look at your case at a deeper level.
Yes, sir.
So, but you didn't post it. I didn't see that in the post.
I did, sir.
No, I did not. On the WhatsApp, you mean?
Yes.
The list post I saw this morning, I was trying to chat guys up. The guy said he was able to resolve the issue because he proceeded as administrator. He ran as administrator, so he was able to resolve it. And I see that guys are also there waiting to render help. What they know. That's awesome. Well done. I don't have your names, so I might not be able to mention you by name, but I see your work. If I saw that, I would have been able to look into it. Maybe you repost it again, and there are guys there waiting to help. All right, any other issue that you need us to quickly look at before we start to discuss? So apparently you guys have not really loaded or have not attempted to load your server operating system.
I've made an attempt, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. What was your result?
And I was able to load it, and I got to the Windows page and the Windows page. Yes.
Go to the Windows page. What's Windows page?
I mean the home page of the Windows.
Are you saying that you successfully loaded your server operating system?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Same here. I've been able to do it as well.
Oh, good. Good.
So you're able to do it too also.
Sir, hello, sir.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir.
I hope you know now that I'm going to be a bit strict. If I find out that you are distracting the class with noise from the background, I'm going to take you off. All right? I'm sorry, but the class has to go on. Yesterday I was really, I have to be a bit disciplined, otherwise I will lose serious people. All right? So keep yourself muted until you want to say something. And if you mistakenly distract us, I'm sorry, I would have to do something about it. I will not let you continue to distract the class. I looked at the video yesterday after I uploaded, and I really found out that I was a bit, I forgive myself because it was just the first class. I need to be a bit strict. All right, so I've already started that seriously and looking very serious. I can smile again and take your question. All right. So let me take your question. Did I scare you? Ask your question.
Okay, sir. No problem, sir. I'm able to load the virtual box machine, but I'm able to load the window 2016.
Okay.
So that's just what is remaining because the file is too big. I think it's about 4.5 gig.
That's not just what is remaining. That's the real thing. You have not done anything.
So I'm still trying to load it, sir.
Okay. What you did is just, it's not the real thing. So it's not what is remaining. All right. Questions? Your morning. Were you able to load something? Or mute yourself so I can hear you.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, I can hear you now. Yeah. So what were you able to do?
The Oracle VirtualBox, I was able to do that, as well as the Windows server. I actually stopped where you stopped.
Oh, you successfully uploaded your Windows server?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
So
great.
where you stopped, so I don't know if there's supposed to be like a continuation from there.
Yeah.
But that's where I stopped.
Yeah, of course. We're going to continue from there now. Awesome. Well done. All right. Who else is there?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon.
Yes, sir. Please, I also stopped where you stopped yesterday.
Please give me 1 second.
All right.
Victor. Ilona Adams. I need you to do something for me, please. I need you to be my classroom today. So once we hear background noise,
okay, sir.
Please scroll around to tell me where that noise is coming from, so that we can block that person.
Okay, I'll do that, sir.
Please, thank you. Now I'm hearing one right now, so identify that person, tell me, and then. All right. Okay, please, back to class. What were you saying, sir?
All right, so I was the one that was talking before you got it, sir.
All right, Richie.
Yes, sir. I stopped where you stopped yesterday, and where I stopped was where I need to download what is it called? This I don't know how to put it. This operating stuff that I'm supposed to download that will make the display not to be in maybe mini format or so.
Okay, I call that.
But when I sir?
Let's just call it the driver. It has no special name. Or
Yes,
Windows
okay,
addition.
yeah.
Let's call it Windows
Yes,
additions.
Okay, sir. The window addition there. So, but mine has not, and it's still in that same format. I hope it's not going to affect any other thing I want to do, sir.
Okay, maybe you forgot to do. Okay, where's my box? Let me quickly show you something. Well, did you install the Windows addition?
Yes, I installed the Windows Addition. There is one there that Windows Addition, and there's one also Windows Addition X as the 64, like X64 like that. So I even installed both.
Okay, I just removed one person. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm admitting people and doing other stuff while I'm listening. So
yeah, I really understand, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so let's on our system. So we on the system. This is the system, and then we say start. I hope you can see it.
Yes, sir.
So system is starting so that we can identify the issue you had. It must be in the background somewhere. Let me see. Okay, it's running here. You see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, that's the wrong one. This is a Linux system.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I have to load Windows. That one is the next class you have. This is the one I should load. Noise, background noise. Where is that coming from?
Let me check, sir.
Okay. All right. So once you do that, for it to cover the screen, first of all, you will need to log on. It will not cover automatically. So input keyboard, Control Delete. So I'm logging in. And then when you log in, excuse me. Okay. For this error, Server Manager cannot run because an error user setting file. What error was that? Okay, I'll find out about that error. But was this what you saw? Or this error? Well, I haven't done anything serious. I may just have to restore. Was this what you saw? Something like this? Now, after you install your Windows additions and you have this, you would have to manually maximize. Can you see the screen? I muted you. You need to unmute to tell me you are seeing the screen. So you have to manually maximize
Yes, we can see the screen.
And then also manually maximize this before it can cover the screen. Did you try that? The person who asked the question. That's what you should do. Since you loaded it successfully. If it didn't load, then it would be a different thing. But since it's loaded, you'd have a button.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. It has worked.
Okay.
It has worked.
All right, that's fine. All right, so yes. More question before we move on. We just want to make sure that the little you have learned so far is in place so that you can learn more today.
Sir, please, can you come again on how to do the Windows addition?
Okay. So the Windows addition is this. After you have loaded that and it's showing like this, it will not cover the whole screen. The first thing to do is go to Devices and click Insert Guest Additions CD Image. You must click this first. You see this?
Yes.
Okay. So once you click that, so you have, it's like in the physical, now you have inserted the CD. So you now go to your File Explorer right there. And then you go to your CD drive. Where is it? Okay, you have to go to my PC to access CD drive. And then you open your CD, which you already inserted by the first click. You open the CD and then you find so many additions, so many drivers. You take the one that runs on Windows. This is it. This one runs on Linux, this one runs on Solaris, this one runs on AMD board, a different version of Windows, but this one works. So take the VBox Windows Edition and double click it. That's it. So that's how to run it. I don't need to double click now because I already have it.
Yes, it's clear, sir.
All right. Are you sure you want to? All right, no more questions. All right, so today we are going to configure our server. We've already installed the server. Now we are configuring the server. All right, so let me minimize this. I can focus on this. All right, so this is the server. Now, with this server, the first thing we want to do is create a network, because that's where we are going. We want to create a network. And then we're going to install another system, and that system would be the client. I need to do some explanation here. Let me know. I don't know if you see my screen, but just playing around with it. All right. All right. So what we want to do with the server now is create a network. So we have a server, a Windows server operating system. We're going to create another system that will be client. So when we say client, we're basically saying that you are on a MTN network, for example. Your handset, technically called MS, is a client on MTN server. Okay? So how do you configure your handset to recognize MTN server, connect with MTN server, and be able to receive and upload calls? Or more restrictively, within your enterprise network, the server room has a server. What about the ND on the top floor? How does it connect to the US head office? Through the server and then on the network. That's what we're trying to do now. So we have a server. So whatever we do on the server, we will not know if it works or not if there is no client to connect to it and test if it works. And then we can now practice on that client server network. So whatever you do on one client to make it possible for that client to recognize and work with the server, that same thing you'll repeat on every other client, and then you can expand your network from just true system network to as many as you ever want it to, as large as you ever want it to be. So to do that, we configure, before we even introduce the client at all, we prepare the server. We configure the server to become the domain controller. In other words, we first of all create a domain. Somebody asked yesterday what's a domain. And I said domain is the Windows name for network. So we create a domain. In other words, we create a network, but in Windows we call it domain. And then we make the server the domain controller of that domain. So when there is a domain, there's a network, and there's a domain controller for the network, then other systems, other computers, other devices can start joining that domain using the domain controller. And every computer, every device that joins that domain becomes a client. So we have a client, we have clients, and then we have server. So that kind of network where there is a server, not just a server this time, but actually a domain controller, and then you have clients being authenticated, being allowed access to the network by the domain controller. That kind of network is called client-server network. Client-server network. So we're going to create a client-server network now. Like I said, the first thing to do in creating a client-server network is to make our server the domain controller. And that also automatically takes care of creating a domain. Now, how do we make our server a domain controller? We make our server a domain controller by installing 3 services. Actually, one service, one major service on the server. That is like wearing the server a crown that makes the server the king of that domain. That service that we install on the server to make it the domain controller is called Active Directory Services, ADDS. So what we're going to do now is to install and configure on the server Active Directory Services. And then we'll now have the opportunity, the chance to promote the server from being a server to becoming a domain controller. However, when we are installing and configuring the Active Directory Services, simply called ADS or ADDS. ADS is the old name, ADDS is the new name. The ADS is going to look around and say, I can't do this work alone. I need my lieutenants. I'm the general. I need my lieutenant to come with me so that we'll go and do this work. And there are 2 men that it cannot do without. We always carry them wherever it goes. These 2 men are other services called DNS service and DHCP service. So even though you are calling ADDS to come and take over, ADDS will come along with 2 men, with his crew.
Sir, please come again. Hello.
What's that?
Please come again.
I can't hear you. You are please don't distract this.
You said you need Active Directory service. You said you need an active.
Just listen. I'm still explaining. There's nothing to come again. Whatever I'm saying, I'm repeating them 5 times, 6 times so that it seems. I've not even started practical. So let's go ahead. We are breaking the flow. Now, unless you don't hear me at all, do you hear me? Please unmute. Somebody should unmute.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. So as long as you are hearing me, if you miss a word, I would always.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
So we are installing Active Directory services, but Active Directory services will always pull along 2 other services, the DNS service and the DHCP service. So if I ask you now, what do we need to configure on a server in order to make that server the domain controller? If you say Active Directory services, you are correct. But if you go ahead to say ADDS, DNS, and DHCP, you are also correct. In fact, more correct. Because even if you are not mentioning the other 2, the first one you mentioned would always drag the other 2 along, so that ultimately you are installing these 3 services. All right? All right. Let me find out if you understand what I'm saying. Now we have a server. What makes a system a server is the loading and configuration of a server operating system. In our case, we have Server 2016. So because we have loaded Server 2016 on that machine is our server. Right. Okay. So what makes a server a domain controller? That's my question. Anyone can answer. I need to make my server. I need to convert my server. I need to upgrade, use whatever word you want at this stage, to a domain controller. What do I need to do?
First of all, you have to install the Active Directory service.
All right.
And then the DNS and DHCP.
Correct.
Because you have to.
Correct. All right. So for somebody who has not heard these words, these terms before, like Anthony.
Yes, sir.
Don't bother. Don't worry. Forget your noises. Niyi. She your body. Who else is here? Chinedu Okoro. Onyekachi Chima.
Hello, sir.
Onyekachi Chima, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir. Can you hear me,
Okay,
sir?
so what do I need to do on the server to make that server a domain controller?
You need to install an Active Directory service.
Okay.
Install an Active Directory.
Okay. Basically, that's fine. What's a domain? Anybody can answer now. What's a domain? I mean, we're talking about domain controller. What's a domain that it will be controlling? What's a domain?
Domain, like you said yesterday. Hello, sir.
I'm here.
Yeah, you mentioned something about enterprise network yesterday. You said when it relates to Windows, it is referred to as domain.
Okay. So in your own words now, what's a domain? You said it in my own.
Okay, domain is a group of servers or computers or elements that work together, that communicates together.
All right. So any other explanation for what a domain is?
I think domain is the Microsoft word for a network.
Yeah, domain is a network.
Domain is a name that Windows calls the network.
Yeah,
in a network enterprise.
Yeah, so domain is a network. There's no grammar, it's a network. Domain simply means okay, what kind of network? I think, yeah, that'll be more, it will nail it more. What kind of network is a domain? We didn't say that yesterday, but we said it today. So domain is a network, simple. But more specifically, there are different kinds of network. What kind of network is a domain?
Like, okay. Hello?
Enterprise Windows Network.
Hello?
Okay, you can unmute now if you want to say something, because I was trying to identify where that noise was coming from.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. That noise is coming from you. Who is talking? Sanusi? So what's a domain? Aderemi Obi. Elon Adams. What's a domain?
A domain is a network.
Okay. As at yesterday, that definition was correct. But you've learned something today that I needed to add to make it complete.
Yes, it acts like a host that enables the clients and server to work together.
Yeah, you are talking about a domain controller. What's a domain? What are the gurus? Bukola, yeah, anybody can try. What's a domain?
Yeah, I think a domain. Can you hear me? Hello?
Let's talk on. Your mic is not clear. Let's talk. Tokumbo, we're here. We're hearing you.
Okay. A domain, it's an enterprise. How to put it? Enterprise premises.
Bukola, what's a domain?
Domain is actually an enterprise network, and it's peculiar to Windows.
Not correct enough. Nuruddin Alabi, what's a domain?
Okay. Hello?
Nuruddin Alabi,
okay. It is the same. It is the collection of system on the same network that have one domain controller.
Okay. But Anne, did you raise your hand?
Hello?
Oh, you didn't. Okay, I thought you wanted to.
Hello? Hello?
Mo, you're buying.
Hello?
Yeah.
Domain is a client server network.
Who said that?
Moyo.
Where's Moyo?
Yeah, this is
Moyo here. Yeah, domain is a client server network. That's it. You remember that we mentioned client server? That I mentioned client server in my study?
Yeah.
So as you learn more and more, please, your noise. Adam, you are not doing your class rep work. Where is that noise coming from?
I'm also trying to concentrate.
Yeah, I know. All right. So as you learn these things more and more, I'm not contradicting myself. I just give you a piece at the beginning. And then as you learn more and more and you get exposed to more vocabularies and more terminologies, the things that you knew yesterday are no longer correct. They become more correct when you add what you know today. So domain was an enterprise network, fine, but now you know what client server network is. So domain is another name for client server network. Correct. That's it. That's what I was looking for. So at interview, you mention a group of computers. There are so many kinds. What group, Uko? What group is a group of computers? It's another kind of network. There are so many. In fact, these days it's not only about computers anymore. You don't even have to say computers. So the most correct is domain is a network. What kind of network? Client server network. All right. Now that we know, and then don't just take my words. Think about it, like meditate on it, and then even polish. It's not like a standard definition. You go to somebody else, is going to explain it in a different way, but we are still referring to the same thing. Or form your own words around it. All right, so now that we know what domain is, it means that without a client server network, we cannot have a domain. So let's create a client server network. So what we want to do now is install and configure Active Directory services. Let's do it. So we come to the screen, come here, and then we say add roles and features. Okay, you are wondering, where did I get that from? Okay, so if you come here without that, to invoke that, you click this, all right, your Windows, and then you say Server Manager. So it brings this up. So you say add roles and feature. And then it starts here. All right. So before you begin, and just read this to understand it better, but basically here you say next. Role based, leave it there and say next. Select a server from the server pool. It's saying amongst the many servers that you have, which one are you trying to configure? In this case, I have only one server, and this is the server. It's already highlighted. If I have one, only that one will be highlighted. If I had many, then I will choose the server that I want to configure. Then I will highlight it. In this case, it's one, so I'll say next. What do I want to configure here? These are the possible things I can configure on the server, the possible services. But the one I want to configure for this service is Active Directory Domain Services. Look at it. Add feature. Active Directory, yeah. I said Active Directory Services. It's okay. You cannot. It can also be called Active Directory Domain Services. But most of the time, just say Active Directory Services without the middle name. Okay, I'm hoping you are still seeing me and you are hearing me. So Active Directory Services is the service that I must install to make that server a domain controller. But like I said earlier on, it will always pull along, whether you highlight or not, your DHCP as well as your DNS. Anytime you click it, you need to come here to say add feature. What's the problem? Well, if I continue and it doesn't work, I may have to go back and find out what the issue is. But right now, let me still just continue. Looks like that server is not has a problem. Okay, so at the end of the day, I have selected 3 services. I've selected Active Directory services, I've selected DHCP server, and I've selected DNS server. So by the time I'm done with this configuration, this server will no longer be just a server. It will be my domain controller, my DHCP server, as well as my DNS server. Next. 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 Confirmation. Install. All right, so the installation is taking place. What's being installed? Those three services: DHCP, DNS, Active Directory. They are now being installed. Of course, so many things will be installed. They contain so many components that will be installed as these three major components are being installed. So that's going to take a while. While that is going on, any question? So we are trying to set up a client server network by setting up the domain, and also, in fact, in setting up the domain controller, the domain is automatically set up as well. All right, questions?
Okay, so you said
Hello?
DNS.
I have a question.
Yeah, I said the DNS.
Yeah, yes, the DNS. I know DNS is domain name server, but DHCP, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll do that in detail. But DHCP is basically the server that generates and automatically assign IP addresses to computers on the client server network. Okay. So you bring your client on Cyber Cafe, you need to have an IP address that the Cyber Cafe recognizes in order to share internet with you. Okay. How did you get that? Their DHCP server automatically assigned to you an IP address when you plugged in your cable, Cyber Cafe cable, or you connected to their Wi-Fi. It did that for you automatically. So that's what DHCP does. Dynamic host configuration protocol. Dynamically, automatically configures your device with an IP address. Yes. What's the other question?
My question is, can we set it up one after the other? Like what we did now, we bundle up the three, AD, the DHCP, and DNS. Can we pick it one after the other for setup?
Yes, if you want to. Okay. Once you install DHCP, finish the work, it takes all this time, and then you go back to configure DHCP, and then you go back to configure DNS. That's what you mean, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But remember that what you are being paid for by your employer is your efficiency. So why would you want to break into three parts what you can do once? But to answer your question, yes. All right. Questions?
Just my question is this. Okay. We have DHCP enabled on this installation. And at the same time, the network we're building, like our switches, the router, already have DHCP enabled. What do we do? Because I'm thinking there will be some kind of interaction between them. The server is DHCP enabled, and the router we have on the network is DHCP enabled also. Which one should we do disable for?
Yeah, but this network we are building now, we are building it from scratch. So no router, no switches, no other DHCP server. However, when we get to that level where we can resolve those conflicts easily, because even later on, we are going to create our own DHCP server separately here.
Okay.
So that is easily resolvable. We'll do it. All right, it's still loading. It's still loading. Configuration, is it done? Configuration required installation. Close. Okay, so what do we have here? So now we have, I don't know if you noticed the first time, we didn't have ADDS, DHCP, and DNS. We did not have it when we started. Now we have them there. So they are now installed. Installation is different from configuration. So if we go there to that caution sign, we'll see configuration required. That means installation has completed, but you need to configure. First of all, complete DHCP configuration, add rows. Okay, so what we want to do is click this button to complete the DHCP configuration. We say commit, and we say close. DHCP is done. Go back to that caution sign, and then configuration completed for DHCP server. Okay, no problem. That one is done. What about this? We need to continue to configure in order to promote this server to become a domain controller. I don't know if you can see it there, but what it says here is promote this server to a domain controller. All right, so I click that, and then I'm ready to promote now. So this is where the configuration starts. What we did the first time was install. Now we are configuring. So add a domain controller to an existing domain, or add a new domain to an existing forest, or add a new forest. Which one do you want to do? So like I said earlier, this is a brand new domain controller, brand new forest, nothing at all. This is a fresh service. So there is nothing existing. So what we should do is add a new forest. What's the name of the forest you want to add? Let's call it any name. Instagram. No. Let's use this simple. I already used
COVID-19.
COVID, okay. COVID-19.
Yes, sir.
.com. All right, so the root domain name is COVID-19.com. So domain name would usually take this form. This form of naming is called frequently, what's the word now? Fully qualified domain name, FQDN. This naming convention, this kind of naming convention, where you say something.com. So fully qualified domain name. So we enter a domain name like that. Did you get that? And then we say next. All right. Select function level for this new domain. Just leave it. Anytime you have next, unless you have to change, don't change anything. So who am I? Who is allowed to do this? The administrator. So who is that? What's the administrator's password? Okay. And then, all right. So I've entered the password just to make sure it's the right person that is doing this. I say next. Don't worry about that sign. It's not important. A delegation for this DNS. Specify DNS delegation option. You don't really have to do that. No, don't worry about that. Next. Verify the NetBIOS name assigned to the domain and change it if necessary. NetBIOS. NetBIOS is old-fashioned. I don't need it. So whatever it takes me, it gives me, I'll just accept it. Next. When you are doing yours, take time to read this and understand what they mean. But for me, I already know. Next. Next. The pro is checking everything. Is everything fine? Is this system okay? All the protocols, are they active? Are they where they should be? So let's give it time to check. Checking prerequisites, and it checks everything, and it gives you a green light to say everything is good. I'm ready to install now. You click install. All right. So again, that's going to take a while. While that one is going on, let us ask questions and make sure we are following. So by the time that completes, then we should have a domain controller. Then we'll go ahead to Configure our domain controller. Any question?
Yes, please. I have a question, sir.
No, really.
The point of installation, when it asks us to create a DNS delegation, you skipped that. I would like to know why.
We don't need it for installation.
Okay.
Whatever we don't need, why should we install it? But if your question is what is DNS delegation, then we'll take care of that later.
Okay, thank you.
We'll do DNS delegation, we'll do DHCP, we'll create a separate server for DNS, for DHCP, for web server, we'll do a lot of things. All right, so what's happening? Still installing? Configure DNS servers on this company. All right, installation. Questions? All right, you don't have questions. Let me ask you questions. Let me load my own. Give me 1 second. Where's my share? What window are we using now? This. All right. All right, are you ready for my questions? All right, question for you. Anyone can answer. What are the 3 services that make a server a domain controller?
They are the ADDS, DNS, and DHCP services.
Correct. 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 All right. What computing technology can convert your laptop to a mini data center?
Virtual machine.
Virtual machine.
Somebody said virtualization. That's the correct answer. Virtual machine is not a technology. I said, what computing technology? Virtualization is the correct answer. Thank you, somebody. Once one person can get it right, it means that I did tell you. So while we're taking questions, let me check. Okay, that one is still working, still in progress. All right, next question. Are you seeing my questions? You are not. What are you seeing on your screen?
The installation.
Yeah?
Yes. The installation.
You are not seeing my Word document, are you?
No, we're
We've seen,
not.
we've seen that one before.
Which one?
The word question you were working on before.
You've seen the question before?
No, sir. We have not seen the question before.
Currently, we're seeing the installation.
Okay.
We are not seeing anything.
Okay. All right. Next question.
Please.
Yeah, we actually asked this yesterday, and somebody gave me a very brilliant answer. I was going to ask what's the difference between a data center and cloud. You already provided that answer yesterday. So let's scroll down. No, you will not be able to tell me this answer. Oh, these ones are too complex for now. Okay, you should be able to answer this one. Now, listen to this one. This is a fairly long one. My understanding and practice of Windows has given me a business idea. I'm painting a scenario. I'm not talking about myself. My understanding and practice of Windows has given me a business idea. I could load a bare metal hypervisor like Xe on my host to create multiple VMs for numerous customers. I would support each customer to load their preferred operating systems and upload appropriate tools to help them run all the features they need, and then give them access to remotely access remotely access resources I have created for them. What is this? What is the technical name for my business model called?
Data center.
Cloud service.
Cloud service. Cloud service. Thank you. Cloud service. All right.
AWS.
No AWS, so cloud service. Technical name for that business model is cloud. Cloud. You see, you said that you know the answer from the question, or you use the question to use both ways. But I'm happy somebody knows this. Once somebody knows it, you all should know it. Cloud service. The rest were guesses. Cloud service is the correct one. I'm impressed that somebody knew. All right. Let me check how my server is doing. Oh, server is loaded. Okay, I'll come back to that shortly. Let me ask one more question before I come to server. I mean, I'll stop calling that one server now because I've crowned it. It's now the king. I'll start calling it domain controller. Before we go back to domain controller, let me ask you one more question. What does it server do?
Come again, sir.
What does it what?
DHCP server, what does it do? What's the job? What's the function?
The dynamic configuration automatically assign to client servers.
Someone is answering.
Automatically assign
IP addresses.
IP addresses.
To client servers. Client systems.
All right, so that's fine. So let's wait for our domain controller to complete configuration. Any question while we're waiting? So are you able to complete this configuration by yourself? Will you be able to complete the domain configuration by yourself?
Hello? Hello?
So what is the full name of the acronym DHCP?
Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol.
All right, thank you.
Dynamic Host Configuration. All right. DNS, what's the full name of DNS? We'll still do that, don't worry about it. All right, so applying computer settings. Okay, that'll take a while. Let's take question. Let's not just fold our answer. I've asked you my question. You ask me your question.
Hello, sir.
Moyo Bayi, are you going to ask a question?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Olasukan.
Yes. I was just looking at all the efforts put into configuration of the server and all that. And something just came to my mind. If we have to do all this on a particular hard disk, say maybe a single hard disk, I'm looking at what of like a kind of back thousand.
You are breaking. You are breaking. I really can't hear you. I can't put together what you are saying. Your bandwidth is too small to carry your voice. You are breaking.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Okay, let's try one more time.
Sir? Can you hear me now, sir?
Let's try one more time.
Okay. I'm saying if we have to put all these efforts to configure the server, and then this is all done on a particular hard disk, when do we need? I don't know if maybe we'll get there, but I just wanted to ask, what do we do? Is it at this stage that we need to configure like a an extra, like a backup on the same server. I'm talking about the proper server now. Like, let's say the server has 2 hard disks. When we like install on the second server so that in case one fails, the other one pick up?
Okay. All right. So let's look at your question. Thank you. So you guys understand his question?
I think you should type it. You should
No,
type it and
I
send
understand
it.
the question, but do you understand the question? Or do you need me to reframe?
No, we don't.
I don't.
No, he's saying
I could barely hear him.
configuring. Yeah, me too. But I managed to. He's saying configuring the configuration we are doing is taking so much effort. It's so much work by the way he sees it. So why risk losing all of that configuration and starting all over again? Why not do some backup? At what stage do we need to do backup so that if the server fails, we don't have to go through this entire process again to do the configuration? So by his understanding of backup, it's like attaching a secondary hard disk, something like that, so that if one hard disk fails, another one would automatically come up and continue the work that the first one was doing. That's the question. But the answer is, yes, there is backup. There is always a lot of, it's called redundancy. In everything we do, especially in cloud, and that's the beauty, one of the many beauties of cloud, and in the virtualized environment generally, in cloud and in virtualization. What I mean is, whether that virtual services is provided to you by a third party or you are providing it for yourself like you are doing now, they are both virtual. There is a lot of room for, in fact, we should do that. We should do that for redundancy, otherwise called redundancy and reliability. Okay, so I'm going to show you the way to back up so that if anything happens, you don't have to repeat this whole process. But I'm going to take you to that place where I'll show you a couple of things. But let me quickly complete this now. So it's not the regular way of having 2 hard disks. No, that's not the approach. I'll show you what the approach is, and I'll actually do a backup now. All right, so in the time being, let me quickly, our server is loaded now. Do you see the server?
No.
What can, okay, let me share. Give me one. Screen. All right, you see it now? You see our virtual server now?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's log in. Control delete. What's this? Okay. Control or delete. So the first thing you notice is that we are no longer, I don't know if you noticed the first time, it wasn't showing COVID-19. It was just showing administrator. Now it's showing COVID-19 administrator. So what does it tell us? That we now have this system representing 2 systems. One is representing itself, and 2 is representing a bigger system that we created. And what was that system we created? We created, what's COVID-19? The name of our domain, right? So there's now a domain called COVID-19, and this system is the domain controller to that domain. So, so we log in now, and then what do we see? I don't know if you understand what I just explained, but what I mean now is this system booting now is different from the system that booted before we completed the Active Directory Services configuration. All right, all of that grammar. What I'm trying to say in one word is that this system is now a domain controller for the domain COVID-19. So local server, We have Active Directory, DHCP, DNS. The name of the computer is this, and the domain here, this is what I want to show you. The domain that this computer represents is COVID-19.com. Okay, so as a network administrator, you don't go asking people questions. You go to the computer directly and you get information from the computer. And then you can know which computer is which. All right, now let's before I go to Jaffa machine to show you how to back up and stuff, before I show you stuff, we'll still do it anyway, even if I don't do it now. Now let's look at this closely. Okay, I need to see some face. So I come here and this computer is a domain controller. I just look at this computer and I tell you, this computer is in your server room, you could have many computers, or even your virtual machines. I mean, on your virtual, on your VM box, you could have many virtual machines. I open them one by one and I'm able to identify which of them is the domain controller by what I see here. Because by the time we open clients or other servers, you are going to see that they are not the same. So you may not be able to appreciate what I see. That makes me know this is the domain controller. However, you do know that this computer is running Active Directory services, and only domain controllers run that service. This is the crown of this computer. Other computers can run DHCP and become DNS servers, but this is the only one that runs, only one computer should run ADDS actively, and that one is the domain controller. So this computer is the domain controller for this domain. What's the name of the domain? COVID-19. So later on, we'll create a client and you try to use that client to access this domain and see what we can do. Because what you'll be employed for is help our clients, help our customers, help people using our services, representing the client version of the domain, to be able to use our server to attain this, to accomplish this, to do this, to do that. So you install the service on the server, and then you go to the client to test if the client is now able to do it. And then you can launch and say, yeah, you are now able to do this. Okay, so that's what you're trying to set up. And that's what you'll be employed to do. Okay, so I need to take a break now and ask you questions and show you stuff around here. First of all, I'll show you how to change the name of this computer from this not too friendly name to a more friendly name. Then I'll show you how to, right now, you see that this is doing DHCP. This IP address is dynamically assigned. A server would not, where will it? This is the server, this is the domain controller, this is the king, the number one computer on this whole domain. So if we are saying an IP address is automatically assigned to it, who automatically assigned the IP address? Where did he get it from? This is the system that should automatically be assigning IP addresses to other computers on the network. So this is, I'm just explaining this so that you get the reasoning behind what we are doing. Clicking and changing is simple. Anybody can do that. But you need to understand the reasoning behind why this is wrong. So servers, and especially domain controller, cannot get automatically assigned IP addresses. You have to statically assign an IP address. So I'm going to show you, we are going to actually assign an IP address here by ourselves. And then we can change stuff that needs to be changed here. But before then, let me make sure you are following me. You understand what we are doing. Questions? Questions? Please, I'm sorry if I'm losing anybody here because it's getting technical, but please ask questions so that we don't leave you far behind.
Yes, sir. In naming convention, can I use example of this COVID-19.com? Can I use like COVID-19.org or .net?
Of course, they are fully qualified domain names. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Anything anything is okay, as long as. In fact, you know, in the the other part of it now can be anything. .gov, .egg, .eating, .by, everything is there. Yes, please.
Just like yesterday, we saw a video of yesterday's class on YouTube. Please, I hope this class is recorded for tomorrow 7. That's what we can go back in case.
Your voice is not clear. Yeah, we'll try and upload it as well. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is to get what we're saying. Any other question? Or is it too hard that you can't even ask questions? Bukola, every time I ask Bukola a question, you never get to answer before somebody else jumps in. I need to hear you talk. Are you understanding me, Bukola?
Yeah, I'm still learning. Yeah.
You're understanding what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anne, are you still with us? Are you understanding me?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm understanding, sir. I'm following.
Okay. Who
So
else?
I have a question.
Hello, sir.
All right. Ask your question.
Okay. At the beginning, not at the beginning, per se, when you loaded, after loading it, we saw, COVID-19 / administrator.
Okay.
So we said that because of the domain name assigned to it. What if in a case where we have like 4 domain names, or 3 domain names? Are we going to see, all the domain names then / the administrator?
Yes, you will see them all as long as that computer is a member of that domain. We are going to configure client and we are going to join them to domain. You will see the difference. So literally speaking, yes, as many domains as that computer is a member of, you will see them all so that you can pick the one you want to log in as when you are logging in. But practically speaking, computers are usually member of one domain.
Okay.
Because the organization is one domain. The entire organization is one domain. .shell, .uba. So why would I be a member? Why would a computer that's a member of UBA, a client on a UBA account within the UBA enterprise, be a client to Zenith Bank account at the same time? Okay. I get your question. Yes, you see as many as it belongs. All right. So yeah. So let's go back to class then. Before we go back to class, okay, let me just show you around. Let's go back to our virtual box. Are you seeing this one, my virtual box? This is my virtual box.
Yes, sir.
See my pointer moving around? All right, so let me show you how to back up. Now, the question that man asked, he said, this is so much trouble. I don't see any trouble there actually, but this is so much trouble. In case I lose this server, would I spend another 1 hour trying to do all of this, to repeat all of this to get my server domain controller status back? No. What you have to do is this. You right click it's running now. We may not be able to do it, but I can switch it off. Let me switch it off so I can complete. So this is my server. I go to file, I go to close, and I say power it off. It's powered off. You see it here, it's off now. So what I'll do is that I right click, I say clone. I can take it from here or I take it from here, the same thing, clone. Clone my server, my virtual server, and call it clone. Yes, I will explain this later, don't worry about it. So I do a full clone. So this way, I am duplicating my server. If anything happens to the first one, I just call up the second one and I continue from there. That's how to duplicate. I'll clone it. And this is readily available in cloud as well. In fact, in cloud, it's not going to take you this long. It's just a click of a button to just clone. But in your own cloud, because of the limitations of your laptop, it's going to take like 5 minutes to complete the clone. And then there's something else that is called, let me try that one on this one. Oh, you won't let me do something else. Let's wait for this one to finish. So cloning is so if I come to you now and say, let me see your faces again. If I come to you and say, Ismail Olalekon, I told you to create server. You went to create one server. I meant you to create 3 servers. Why did you create only one? Just say, sorry, Oga, my IT manager, sorry. You go back to IT room and you just clone 2 more. So cloning is your way to quickly replicate servers. Instead of going back to your supplier in the real world, in enterprise, you go back to your supplier and say, supply me 2 more servers. My the bank needs 3 servers, not 2. So you just go there and you clone 2 more. So all the configurations that you performed on the first one will be repeated on the other 2. Altogether, you have 3 servers. So cloning is one way. You understand what cloning is now? Talk to me. Do you understand what cloning is?
Yes, we do.
All right.
Hello, sir.
So
Question.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 DMs here. By the time I complete this cloning, I'll have 8. I've added 1 more. All right. Question now.
Yeah, question,
Hello,
sir.
sir. Okay.
The question is, when you clone your server, you need to have enough resources, space to accommodate that server. Not so. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you. That's true.
When,
That's definitely.
okay,
Yeah,
I
you
said
need resources, of course.
you need more resources. Yes, okay. All right, thank
Definitely.
you.
So the more virtual machines I'm having, the more my resources are used, and it will get to a level where I can no longer create more. So I'll need to delete some. All right, I'll take your question. Was it Bukola that was trying to ask?
Me, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so is it going to be a full clone or a linked one?
Full. I click full. Look at it.
Okay.
Full is highlighted, so it's a full clone. It's a complete replica of the original one.
Okay.
So I just want to ask for the system for the servers that are going to be cloned. Apparently, you're also going to have different IP or the same IP with the main server.
No, you will not have the same IP. IP will be different. But what I expect you to ask, if you maybe you didn't get it right, you should have asked about the MAC address. Will they have the same MAC address as the original one? The question will become more relevant.
I have a question.
No. Let me take care of this one first.
Okay, sir.
This question that this guy asked is an important question. Who was that? I can't see your this thing. I can't see your videos.
There's me.
Okay, tell me. That's if you ask for MAC address, it's a very solid question. We'll come back to that later on.
Okay.
Yeah. So you could clone it in such a way that it will have the same MAC address, or you clone it in such a way that it will have different MAC address. But for IP, MAC addresses are physical addresses. They are already encrypted on the
machine.
On the machine.
Yeah.
IP is logical, so IP can always turn down. All right. You can take the next question.
So,
my question is this. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I think, okay.
Sir, after cloning, so what I want to ask is, like, your subsequent activities cloud server, will it be available on the other servers too?
No. Once you clone, they are 2 independent machines, separated, nothing connecting them at all.
Okay.
Nothing, no connection. But what you're asking is, backup, or what you call secondary.
Yes, sir.
Secondary, so that whatever you are doing on one will automatically replicate on the other one. So that if anything happens to this one can take over. That one is a different thing. Yes. We'll do that one later. That's like the advanced thing, maybe by next week or so.
Okay.
But cloning is not the same thing as that one. Cloning is just like 2 independent systems, no connection between them.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. All right. So now we'll clone. There's something else called snapshot. So I can come back to, let me just use this one. And I take a snapshot. Where is the snapshot? I can right click. and I say, oh, saved. No, it shouldn't be saved. It should be, well, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about that one. Let me use that now. I can do this and I say snapshot. So let me take this. Where's my snapshot? Here. I can say snapshot. And then I can take a snapshot of that. It's related to clone, but it's not the same thing. I can give a description. What's today's date and what's the time? Snapshot as at September 2 at so time, okay? And I'll say, okay, what does this do? This one takes a photo of that server in its current state as at this particular second. So now I load the server and I do work, I mess it up, I use it to show you different things, okay? And after you have understood and I'm done with class, I want to revert this server to the state it was when I picked it up to demonstrate to you. I'll now go back to the snapshot. I'll use the we'll still do it later. Let me not take it. While I own it, I can always revert to the snapshot. So what snapshot does is if you take a snapshot, and it's very common in the cloud, if you take a snapshot of your system, anything you do between now and 3 days time next week, by the time I revert back to this snapshot, it will bring me to the state that system was. Whatever I configured between the snapshot time and this time, I will lose everything. It will bring me to that original state. So I can deliberately decide to do jargons or do nonsense with the server because I know that I have a snapshot that I will always return to. I'm just doing the demo so that you understand it. So that's the meaning of snapshot. So in the case of snapshot, we do not have two systems. It's just one system. But in the case of clone, you do have a second system that is not connected to the original system. So snapshot is a way to back up. It's one way to back up your system that you can always revert to the original state. But cloning is not necessarily backup. Cloning is duplicating, not replicating, but duplicating the server and keeping one safe. So that if anything happens to one, instead of repeating everything you did originally, you can go back to the saved one and install it as the original one. Questions?
So where do we have the clone copy saved?
Here, right here. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it. I mean, like a kind of, I was expecting if it will have a clone like that, I can duplicate on the separate hard drive that I can have as a backup somewhere away from the system itself.
No, I didn't get that one.
Okay, I'm saying the clone copy we have here, I was thinking we're going to have it in a kind of a folder that I can go to, copy it, put it in a kind of external hard drive or somewhere safe away from the server itself.
That's a different thing entirely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this clone is a machine, it's a virtual machine in your VM box. That's what it is. If what we want to do now is you want to take it out of here to somewhere else in cloud, that is why you have availability zones in cloud. But this is your machine, so that whatever happens, so that will be beyond, what you're looking for is beyond what you can get with the VirtualBox. Your appetite now is bigger than this. You may need to go to cloud to achieve that. Because there is only one hard disk here. Whether it's showing here or it's not showing, wherever you put it on this system, it's still the same hard disk. Unless you are now saying, okay, this system, me as a person, I also have cloud assets. Let me move it. In that case, it's a different thing. But I understand your question. It's just beyond the scope of what we are doing now. You still do it too. You do it with in higher classes, especially in cloud. That is what cloud is all about. You lose something in one availability zone, is still available. If the office, everything you have related to your business is gutted by fire, you still have everything available. Even if the whole of Texas, if for example, your data center is in Texas and the whole of Texas goes down, or your data center taken over by alien, you will still have access to your to your cloud resources. As a matter of fact, I dare say that even if the entire world collapses, the entire earth collapses, the way Elon Musk and, you know Elon Musk? And Amazon, the way their collaboration is going now, it is likely that the whole data on Earth will be replicated in space. Just put in this in some ship and just make it hover around Earth forever and ever. Technology is going that far, but for now, that reliability in cloud is like 98, almost 99%. That is because whatever happens in one area is already replicated in another area. If the whole of Japan goes down, the data is available somewhere in America. If they create a new Japan, they will move it there, and so on and so forth. That's what you are looking for. That's not readily available within a laptop. It is available in cloud. All right. Let's go. Questions? Your questions make me talk, right? Talking is part of the learning. Do you know Elon Musk? You didn't answer me.
Yes.
Who is he?
The
Eniola, who
Tesla
is he?
guy.
Huh? Yeah, the Tesla guy.
The
Yeah.
man that owns Tesla.
What else? Tesla and what?
Richest man.
Sorry?
SpaceX.
Correct. It's the space arm of him that I was referring to. So, you know, it's not a human being. Don't mind me. I just love that man, that boy. He's a boy. The best I can do is buy his Tesla. I can't be like him, unfortunately, in this world. Maybe when I come back to this world. All right.
So, is that too late?
Look at my. When would it be too late? Let me just transfer the little I know now to you guys so that you can take over from there. For me. All right. So we have done that. So what else do we need? A lot of things I can show you here, but let me not show you in isolation. Let it be because we need it. We'll come back here, we'll do it, and then you see how it works. All right. So, okay, let's go back to class. Let's go back to our machine. Where's our machine? COVID. Where's the COVID? Oh, okay. Another thing you would notice is that the name of the machine here is just a label. It's different from the name that we actually give the machine in the configuration. So here is, what's our machine? Excuse me. This is it. This is our machine. So let's on it.
Yes, that's it.
I should have changed the name before on it. Let me quickly change the name. I cannot change the name while it's on. You see. Let me quickly off it so I can check. I can change the name. So that's what I mean. If I didn't need to change the name, I will not remember to show you how to change it. So now I need to change the name. So I right click. I do settings. And I change the name from Virtual Server 2016 to, what do we call it the other? COVID what? No, we're not even change the name of the machine. Sorry, I'm confusing you. Sorry. Let us go and change the name of the machine before we come back here and change the name. All right, so let's take one step further. We've created the domain controller. What do you want to do now? What should we do now? What's the next thing to do? Okay, let's go and assign IP address. How much time do we do? Any question? Don't waste time. Don't let's waste time waiting for machine. Always seize opportunity to ask questions. So where is my machine? All right. There you go. Okay, so all right, so let's quickly, this is how it appears when, did I load the wrong machine? When you have not configured the ADC, but it's appearing fine now. All right, this is how to change the name of a computer. Let's change the name of this computer. You click this, and then you say change. It wants you, this is the domain controller. If you change the name, this is not an ordinary machine. You say, yes, I know what I'm doing. Just carry on. Let's give it a name. What name do you want to call it? Let's call it domain controller. Domain controller for, I've had 1, 2, 3. I don't want to. Domain controller for, okay, let's call it domain controller 4 or 5. So the name of this machine is domain controller for DC4. All right? That's how to change machine name for any machine. All right? You must restart for the name to take effect. That'll be later. Let me also change the IP address. This is how to change the IP address. Are you with me?
Yes, I am.
Oh yeah, this is how to change the IP address. All right, so we'll click, we'll click that, and then we'll click, right-click the Ethernet port, and then we say properties, and then we say IP version 4, not version 6. We are not using version 6. And then here we say use following IP address. Right now, it's in dynamic state, dynamically assigned, but we want to say statically assigned. They will enter the IP address. All right, I've not taught you about IP address. For now, just bear with me. Let's use any IP address. So we'll just use 192, sorry. 19, write this down, 192.254. No. 192.254 dot 100 dot 10. Write that down. I have so many IP addresses. If you don't write this, remember the one for this. Let's just stop there. Okay. Okay. Close this one. And then we should have it appear here shortly. So that's how to change the IP address. All right. So this is the new IP address. You know, we changed this name, but it has not reflected because we needed to restart the computer. So let's restart it now so that by the time it starts, it will change this name. This computer name will change to what? DC5, right? So let's restart. Restart the computer. All right. So that's how to change IP address and how to change computer name. All right. So we're making progress. We're making progress. The lecture on IP addressing is going to be a full lecture, but for now, just bear with me. Just take that IP address, write it down, so that anytime I ask you what's the IP address of this system, you tell me. Okay, we have 30 minutes. So tomorrow we'll be setting up a client, and then we should be able to connect the client to this server in a domain. So now the server is by itself. We're trying to play around.
Go and meet your pillow.
So who was that? Who distracted us so much? So where's my video? Where's my cane?
I'm sorry, sir.
I'm looking for my cane to flog somebody. So mute yourself now because of your baby. Will forgive you. Mute yourself. All right. So where were we?
Where?
Okay. So we're here now. So input, keyboard, Control Delete. Okay. All right. So we have the new name. We have the new name, DC5. Local server, yes, DC5, and then the new IP address. Okay, fine. So that's how to change name and IP address. What else do we want to change here before we load the client later? We're preparing this computer for domain. What else? Firewall. Okay, I'll tell you about firewalls later. All right, let me show you one more thing. One more thing.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, questions, please.
Hello, sir. Yes, sir.
We don't hear you. We don't hear you. Okay, so we don't hear what you say. I mute all now. Where's my mute all? Where's my mute all? Okay, so I was going to show you, what was I going to show you? What was I going to show you? Let me see. We have the name, we have the, okay. Now let's go to the machine. That's the operating system. So the machine, let's come here, machine. Let me take you around here. Now to connect machine to network, what do we need on a physical machine? To connect a physical machine, a real life machine to a network, what and what do you think you need?
You need a router.
And
you don't need a router to connect to network.
Switches.
Switch, yes. So on the computer itself, what do you need? I'm not even talking about third party.
I want to talk to Anya.
You need the Ethernet port and the cable.
Correct.
Ethernet card.
Ethernet card is more of the card, not the port is on the card. So the card is more important. So you need the network interface card and cable, correct. So virtually, this is how we get the network interface card. You come here, because we are preparing this computer for network, you go to network, and then you see that you can have up to 4, maybe more, but for now, 4 network interface cards. Unfortunately, we cannot insert interface cards, network interface cards, while it's on. So we have to off it. We have to switch it off and then come here. Yeah, it's part of the game. So let's quickly switch this off so that we can do network interface. Close. All right, so that system is off. So let's insert a network interface card now. So we come here and we say machine, and then we say settings. We do network, and then we come to adapter 1. We change it from NAT to host only adapter. This is the kind of interface card that we need to connect the network. So if we didn't come here to change this to host only adapter, and we did all the IP configuration, we did everything we should do on the operating system, we will never be able to connect. We will not be able to connect to the network. We will not be able to connect to the network. So you have to change this on to network interface card. That way you now have a cable. That way you now have a NIC for your system. Okay, what about the cable? As for the cable, don't worry about the cable. Look at this. Cable is already connected. It's checked, unless you want to uncheck this. But once it's checked, your cable is already connected to this network interface card. So your computer is ready to be connected to network. Say okay, and you are good. Are you okay? Did you get that?
Yes.
All right. So that's how to connect your network. There are many types of interface cards. Make sure you select the one for host only adapter. Host only adapter. Look at it. There are many types. Take the host only adapter. All right. I'll teach you one more thing.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
A quick one. Why do we have to select the host only adapter and not all the other choices?
I will not be able to take you all the other ones now, but as we progress, I will let me teach you just one more now. As we progress and we need them, we'll always come back here and then we'll see why. Okay, but let me show you something now, then I'll come back here. Let me load the system. This is the system, right? Okay, so we'll start it. Start it. Did I click start? Yes.
And this, you mentioned that we have to rename the system name from the virtual.
Okay. Yeah, we can easily do that. Just right click and
so that we can identify easily now. All right.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll go back there and do that. All right. So hurry. Let me quickly show you this before we run out of time because I have like 20 minutes. Somebody's just joining. 48 people we had 50 people. Okay, some people are not understanding what we're doing, right? Too complex for some people. All right, so still loading? We're still loading. Still loading. So what I want to do now is see if we can browse from our virtual machine. See if we can browse from our virtual machine. Server actually takes time to load. I could have loaded the, okay, we have not even installed this, a smaller version. We'll not install client, so I cannot load. So bear with me. We have only server to play around. I clicked the wrong thing. To be input, keyboard, control delete. My password. All right, so all right, so let's see if we can browse from here. Go to browse, we go to, where's our browser? Not loaded browser. So the normal browser that comes with Windows is Internet Explorer. So we'll take Internet Explorer. And then we'll go to a site we know. We tend to go to a site. Google is the most popular thing.
I think our internet is still having.
You said?
Our internet, the sign for internet connection is still having a question mark.
Okay.
Beneath
Let's pretend we didn't see that. So, Google, we are trying to browse. We are not browsing. So it will not browse. We will not be able to browse. Why? Why are we not able to browse?
So I think it's, I don't know, I think it's IP problem.
All right. So the solution to this problem is that no, not DNS. The solution is okay, let's shut this down. Let's close this. Let's shut down this machine. Out. So let's go to the machine proper. That's the machine, right? So this is the solution. We'll go to machine, we'll go to settings, and then we'll go to network. The adapter we have added here allows this machine to connect to networks, the equivalent of your local area network. It does not connect this machine to be able to the outside world to be able to browse. To make this machine able to browse, we need to add a second adapter, enable that adapter, and that adapter should be NAT. That's the work of NAT. Somebody asked me what is the work of the other one. This is the work of NAT. Network Address Translation. So browsing is public IP addressing. Your system here is a local IP addressing, private. There has to be translation between the two of them. This makes that possible. So just by introducing this, why is it not active? Is it on? Adapter 1 is that, adapter 2 is this. Invalid settings. What did I do wrong? Let me close and come in. So, machine, setting, network, adapter. Oh, NAT. I wanted to take NAT, not NAT network. NAT. All right, so that's NAT, and I say, okay. So if we go back to that machine now, we'll now be able to browse. All right, and then let's quickly change the name like somebody suggested. Settings. The name is right here. What name do you want us to call it now? Let's call it the same name of the machine. DC what? File. We have changed the name of the machine to DC file. So power it on, and we are now able to browse because we have introduced the second adapter that will make it browse. The first adapter will make it see the LAN. The second adapter will make it browse. NAT adapter. Anytime you say, support, I'm having a problem, I'm not able to browse, tell them, check your NAT adapter. Maybe it has been disabled somehow. Enable it, and then you'll be able to browse. All right, so let's go back now and see if we can browse. So now you see that the single system will be able to, you can configure more than one network adapter for a single system. The primary adapter should be the host only, which enables you to configure your LAN within your virtual environment. And then if you need to be able to browse, then you have to configure NAT as well. One for local area network, the other one for browsing. All right, just to do the practical of that one to see that it's actually working, let's attempt to browse again. And then it should go through. And then that will be all the new things we'll learn today. And then I'll leave you to go and consolidate and practice all of that. By the time you come tomorrow, would install the client operating system. And by the way, you should download the client operating system because it's not the same server operating system that you are going to load in client. Download that one, ready for tomorrow, so that we can quickly install it, configure it, and then join it to the domain. Once that is done, we have reached that landmark. The next will be network administration. Right now, we are trying to set up the network on which we would practice network administration. So, people.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
You say we should download the client operating system.
Yes.
Which operating system are we supposed
that
to?
That would be Windows 10 Enterprise version. From the same site you downloaded the server.
Windows 10 Enterprise.
Windows 10 Enterprise version. It's on the same. I'll show you. In fact, I'll download this so that you see how to do it. All right, so we are here. Let's quickly browse now before just to test that. Anything you do, whatever you configure, you must go and test it to see that it's working. That's how we do it. And that's why you need to set up the client so that it can be testing from there. Okay, so where are we? We load our Explorer, right? This time, we'll see, we can now connect to Google.com. Okay. Can you not trust Google.com? Google.com is popular now. Everybody knows Google. Why are you doubting it? So it's browsing. We're able to log into Google, right? Are we browsing now? Can you see me? Or do you? Yeah.
Yes,
You are not
yes,
you are not
yes.
convinced. You think it's picture. Let me try something. TTC Mobile World. If we doubt Google, then who is TTC Mobile World? Let me just say okay. All right, so you should load that as well. This is just internal problem. It has nothing to do with this Windows not trusting site. It has nothing to do with whether it's working or not. All right. All right, so it's working. All right, so that's how to browse. You may not know it, but you are learning gradually, because these are things that they will normally call you for and say, this is the problem I'm having, come and resolve it. All right, ask questions, and then you have like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So
without the DNS configuration, we're able to access internet. How is that possible?
Without DNS configuration, I was able to do what?
We're able to access internet. There's no DNS parameters on
the NAT. The NAT I installed resolved that. So between my private network and the internet, there is a NAT that will translate private IP address to public IP address.
Okay.
The NAT took care of that. You know, the first time we didn't configure NAT, so we're not able to browse. But with NAT, it took care of that.
Sorry, sir. Can we call that NAT like a gateway?
Yes, kind of, because NAT is actually configured on your gateway.
Okay.
The gateway is the physical device. It could be a router, it could be a system, it could be a Cisco router. But when you configure NAT inside the gateway, it will do this. So a gateway without NAT got inside will still not be able to do this, even though it's a gateway.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Can we go to the network adapter setting? I want to believe we'll have two network adapters there.
Yes, we'll have to.
The one supposed to take care of this our NATs, and the second one for internal, what's it called? Client connection.
That's right, the host only, yeah.
Yes, okay, good. Then my second question, sir. The clients, must they have Windows Enterprise to connect?
The client has to have some kind of client software. What other client software can you think about apart from Windows?
Yes, I know, but I'm talking about the Windows 10 Enterprise you mentioned. So what if I have Windows 10 Professional or Windows 8? I won't be able to join the domain.
You'll be able to join domain, but the things I want to teach you as an engineer, you can't learn it from all those ones.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this issue in case of a client who actually want to test connection and is having Windows 7, Windows 8, or Windows 10 or something.
Yeah, if all you want to do,
Enterprise.
Yeah, if all you want to do to connect is to connect and browse and do simple things, even Windows 1 will do it. But if what you want to do is really enterprise, where security, that's the major difference. Security is a major consideration. Then you have to use an operating system that has all the security features that would make your work as an engineer possible.
Okay, sir.
But for the ordinary consumer, the ordinary person who just wants to be able to browse or access his bank app, any whatever you do for him is okay. But for security purposes, and that's the major difference. Enterprise version of software is different from personalized or professional version. So it has to be enterprise.
Sorry, sir. Will today's class also be posted on YouTube?
With what?
Will today's class be posted on YouTube too?
Do we really need to? Well, we're already here complete.
We
actually need it.
Sorry, sir, we need the class. We need the
It's very key. Oh.
Hello, sir.
Okay.
For revision,
I'll post it.
for revision purpose.
All right, sir. All right. Thank you, sir.
I'll post it. All right. Yes.
The question, sir.
Yes, please.
Question, sir.
Yes,
when
please.
we were logging in into our administrator/COVID-19, at the bottom we saw new user, which we did not create. So that other user, who is that other user, and why was that
about
user
it?
there?
This is the server. There's no other new user on server. Only the administrator can use the server. By the time we create a client tomorrow, then we can have as many users logging in through the client as we want. Create many users. For administrator, there's only one user. Only for the domain controller, there's only one user. No client, no user can go there. This is the one that will be in the server room. So ignore that new user. There can't be new user. There can't be any other user aside the administrator on the domain controller. So whatever you want to do on the domain controller, you have to be the administrator. Because any password it asks you to say, who are you to be able to do this thing? It has to be the administrator's password. All right. So hopefully I didn't rush you. You were able to learn something today. What did you learn today? Or was it too much for one day?
No, not at all. It was okay for a day.
Okay. Ketu, what do you think? Was it too much for one day?
Well, it was actually nice, but that was why I said we should upload it on the YouTube. You know, because the one for yesterday actually went back and I looked through the picture and actually got some things I thought so the YouTube video is actually very important for reference purposes.
Okay. So any other feedback here, right here? Any other feedback that will... Who else is here? All right, so much to learn, and then of course there'll be more and more stuff.
Hello, sir.
There'll be more and more practice.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Please, can you upload it on your Twitter page, or are you on Twitter? So that for those who are not on Instagram, like me, I don't do Instagram, but I do more of Twitter.
Don't worry. I'll bring this to your house. Where are we? All right. So apparently nothing else to say. You are not asking questions, but I have a feeling I've given you so much for one day, but luckily we are going to upload it so that you can practice. Because if you don't practice this one, luckily we are going to upload it so that you can practice. Oh, man. Because if you don't practice this, okay. Hello?
Can hear you, sir.
Okay. Somebody was making me echo.
Yeah, yes, sir. I don't know if I'll be right if I add this to question raised by, I didn't get his name, asking about the other user where we have our COVID-19/administrator. I want to add this. I don't know if I'll be right, but that's my understanding, what I feel it is. Now, the other user down there, he could create a user if he wants, but that is going to be a local user. It's going to work independently. It's not necessary actually on the server, but that user, it will create a new username and it can be there as just
Don't even go there. Don't proceed. That's not correct at all.
Okay.
No. Ignore that one. Don't worry about it. Why people don't use that? You're already worried about something you saw in the background. Forget that one. There's so much to learn now, so much to practice. Practice the networking, how to go to settings, change name, load your load your server, which some of you have already loaded, then learn to promote the server to domain controller. And like I've always warned, it's not because we did it here and it went smoothly, then you expect that you do it to go smoothly. If you go smoothly, in fact, it's not good for it to go smoothly. If you go smoothly, you are not learning. It means that if somebody calls you and say, I was trying to do this thing and I have problem, you didn't encounter problems. So how do you have somebody solve problem? So somebody who was born of a millionaire and is enjoying life, enjoy his daddy's money, how can he teach other people to come and be millionaires? Ketu, you that is millionaire now. How can you not teach small boy? You didn't go through so that's how it is with IT. If you don't go through mistakes and then you cannot teach it. You cannot teach it. The confidence we have in teaching is because we have had so many mistakes and we have done it so many wrong ways. So if you come now and say, I'm trying to do this, I cannot do it. The only thing you have to be answer my questions. What are you seeing? Once you can tell me, oh, I encountered this 3 years ago, I know how it is. Or one of my students encountered this and he shared with me how he did it. So those experiences is the things that make us stay. So if you run it smoothly, you may be happy, but it's not building your muscles. It's not building you for the real world job that you'll be doing. All right, so thank you guys very much. I'm going to upload this to YouTube.
Thank you so much.
And then I'll send you the link. Yeah, you don't even need the link. Yeah, I'll put it there.
Okay.
All right, so practice.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Same time tomorrow. Hey,
Thank
download
you very
the.
much for today, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right.
Don't worry, I'll show you the link tomorrow so that you can download. But it's going to be smoother than